Hi everyone, my name is Katerina Gea, and I'm an organizer with the Coalition to Dismantle the Doctrine of Discovery. I want to share an update with you all a week after a really important court hearing, the Apache Stronghold versus the United States of America. I was present and bearing witness and prayerful solidarity with the Apache Stronghold during this court hearing in Pasadena last week on March 21st. This was a Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals hearing before an en banc, full court of 11 judges, an en banc hearing about that really centers around a sacred site. You may have heard of Chichil Bildagotil or Oak Flat. This is a sacred site in Arizona's Tonto National Forest, which is Western Apache land where Western Apache peoples have gone to pray, to worship, to conduct ceremonies since time immemorial for millennia. And because of the doctrine of discovery and the ways that the United States government claimed title and legal ownership over these lands, the land does not belong to, it is not legally Western Apache land, but is under the jurisdiction of the federal government through the National Forest Service. And in a 2014 backroom deal in Congress, they transferred, Arizona senators negotiated the transfer of these lands through a land swap deal to Resolution Copper, a subsidiary of Rio Tinto. And the mine planned on these lands for mining copper would essentially destroy this sacred site, this place of worship, of ceremony, holy land for the Apache people, with a 2-mile wide, over 1,000-foot deep crater because of the style, the type of mining that will be done on those lands, and would pollute surrounding waters as far away as Phoenix and drain the already tapped Colorado River further using water resources that are already allocated, and irreparably harm the religious practices of the host peoples of that land, the Apache peoples. So I want to say thank you to those of you who are organizing your communities to pray with us, to lift up your voices and lift up the voices of Apache peoples through the Apache Stronghold, who are really in a spiritual battle, as they say, for the soul of America, to say no to extractive capitalism and no to the continued harming of lands and waters for the sake of progress or for the sake of even the green industry, and calling out the ways that indigenous communities are often the first sacrificed in a quest for extraction of resources like copper, gold, lithium, and other resources to help in this transition to green energy. So yes, we need green energy and we need renewables, but at whose expense? And whose lands are sacrificed for that sake. So as I gathered at the court hearing with at least 200 other people, I heard arguments over what constitutes a substantial burden to Apache religious practice. And so there was a lot of back and forth about what substantial burden means, if this is really going to affect Apache religious freedom or not. And, is the essential obliteration of a sacred site the center of their cosmology and creation story and ceremonies for young women entering puberty? Will that be a substantial burden to their religion or not? And the Apache peoples in the court hearing didn't really even have an opportunity to present their case or voice. It was all argued by attorneys, their attorneys, or the government attorneys. The government attorneys really just dismissed the treaties that the U.S. government made with Apache peoples, the peace treaties, saying that they don't apply today. And what struck me was that they were essentially representing for free a copper mining company, that they were representing not only the U.S. government, but justifying this land transfer and really giving a copper mining company, Resolution Copper, free representation by the U.S. government, and justifying their decision to mine these public lands that that all of us today have an opportunity to speak up about what goes on, how we are represented by the U.S. government as citizens. And so we have an opportunity to stand up and to join not only as Christians, as people of faith, but also as people who are represented by the U.S. government, and making decisions about what happens on lands that have been taken from the first peoples of this place. So Wensler Nosey, the Apache Stronghold founder, after the court hearing, came out in a written statement and in a press conference as saying, you know, today we stood up in court for the right to worship in that place. And he said, I quote, "We were determined to stop those who think that our place of worship can be treated differently simply because it lacks 4 walls and a steeple. We are hopeful that this time around the Ninth Circuit will save Oak Flat," end quote. So we are waiting now for the decision to come out from the 11 judges at the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. That may take months. So in the meantime, we are also waiting on an environmental impact statement that is due any day from the National Forest Service. That could happen tomorrow. So we really need to be prepared, to be educating ourselves, to be acting and advocating, heightening awareness and consciousness around this case, and advocating, following the leadership of Western Apache peoples. So when the environmental impact statement is dropped, there will be only a 60-day period before the land transfer can happen. And so we really need to be organized and prepared for if and when that EIS is coming out. So can you continue to pray with us? Follow the Apache Stronghold at Save Oak Flat, Arizona on Facebook or social media, to learn, what's going on in the news, to learn calls to action. Educate yourselves in your communities, research Apache Stronghold, research Oak Flat. We need all eyes on this case. And can you write posts on social media? Can you write letters to the editor or op-eds that highlight this issue right now? We really need to generate more media attention and public awareness about this case. And then can you call your representatives and ask them to co-sponsor the Save Oak Flat Act? And you can research that, learn about the Save Oak Flat Act online. It was recently reintroduced in early March by Arizona Representative Grijalva. And if you are from Arizona, that's especially important to ask your representatives in Congress to co-sponsor that act or thank them if they already have, and to invite friends who live in Arizona to do so as well. And then finally, the main call right now that we are hearing, which is also a call to action, is to pray together, to see our prayers as powerful, that we can put on the full armor of God, as Ephesians says, and to enter this spiritual battle alongside Apache siblings who are struggling for this land as sacred. This is part of our own work as faith communities, especially as Christians, toward decolonization, to pray and to act together and to see this as connected with all of us, with all of our spiritual connection with the land, with holy places, but especially to uplift and to honor the spiritual connection that Indigenous peoples have that endures today with sacred places all across this land and this continent. So please join us. Please continue to pray and to act. Reach out to me or to other organizers with the Coalition to Dismantle the Doctrine of Discovery. You can follow us on Facebook at Dismantle Discovery or on our website, dismantlediscovery.org. And please join our movement, organizing people of faith and churches to stand in true solidarity with Indigenous communities seeking to defend land and waters in the face of the climate crisis. Thank you.